Hey folks, all right. So I'm just getting situated here, getting everything ready. I'm going to be sharing with you today how I trained Facebook to send me customers, basically. All right. So that's a pretty bold claim, obviously. I want to get into it pretty quick here. So let me just double check. I want to check on the event and everything else in here and make sure that that's all working. Because if not, I need to share this video over into that event. So let's see here. I may have to share it over. Let me just double check before I get started here. All right, set up live video. I already did all this. I thought it was going to be ready to go, but may have to. Well, let me know if you're seeing this. Let's start there. All right. So I don't normally do this through Facebook events, but I think complete post details. All right. Huh. Let me finish this real quick. So, how I trained Facebook to send me customers. All right, we're going to get started here in just a second. I appreciate your patience as I am finishing apparently the setup that I did not finish. All right, post is good. That looks good. And let's go live. How do we save changes? All right. Cool. Think we should be good. Okay. So we're going to get started here. All right. So first of all, if you want to share this with anybody, if you want to invite other people to come check this out, please do. We love to have as many of you on here as possible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be showing you, as much as I can, a system here. I don't know that this is something that I've really formalized in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of a concept, really, something that I've been trying for years now, and it's been really powerful for our business. So I thought I'd sort of get on here and share what it is that I've been doing. But I just want to make sure we set up a little bit of an event, and I just want to make sure that event is showing this video as well. And I think I'm still not seeing it in here. So, oh man, I apologize for this, folks. I may have to log off and log back on. I'll try to keep moving here. All right, well, let me do this. I'm going to find the video and I'm going to share it into the event, and then we're going to just keep going because I don't have any more time to waste here. Let me get the link. There's the link. I'll put it into my event here, and then I'm just going to start talking because I don't want to be wasting any time on your end or mine. All right. Here it is. Okay, here's the event. Add a post. Okay, that should be good. There's the post. There's the link posted. Okay. All right, here we go, everybody. So first and foremost, I need to show you that I am not making this stuff up. All right, so I want to start there. Let me show you an example of what I mean, what kind of has happened as a result of what I've been doing, right? So what I've done is I've trained Facebook to send me customers, right? What I mean by that is that the Facebook, here's what's kind of cool about Facebook at this point. This is good and bad, right? No one controls Facebook. Facebook is it's not a self-aware algorithm, but it is a very complicated, you might call it AI algorithm. And what it does is it's meant to maximize engagement. It's meant to maximize the amount of people that are sticking around on Facebook, right? So there is nothing behind it. There's nobody kind of controlling those levers. It's just a computer system. And this is true of a lot of platforms, Google, Facebook, Instagram, any of them, right? They're just an algorithm. If you can understand that algorithm, you can train it to do certain things for you. All right. Now, I will say this, you got to be careful as you're doing this because you have to stay disciplined. Everything you do on social media, everything you interact with, every post you share is all going to tell that algorithm something about you and what you're looking for, right? So if you start down this path, you got to stay committed to it. Okay. You got to make sure that you're consistently doing the things that I'm going to talk about over the next few minutes here. Okay. So first of all, let me go ahead and show you the example. So this is the friend requests that I have been getting. If you see them over here, and typically I accept them. So I can't show you like a big list of friend requests, obviously, because I typically accept them. But I stopped a couple days ago and I posted about this because I want to make sure I had at least one example I could share with you. So my ideal customer, to be abundantly clear, is a real estate agent. All right. especially a real estate agent that is established and that needs some help learning new technology, in particular video, right? So this is typically somebody who is in the age range, and I would say they're going to be between like 55 and 70, but I'm going to go ahead and say this person is 61, right? That's kind of our ideal customer. Is somebody who's sort of in the probably later stages of their overall career, but might have a good 10, 15 years left in real estate, because it's one of those industries where you can work a little bit later into life. And they don't want to become irrelevant. They want to stay active. They probably have a spouse with an income or retirement savings of some kind. So they're not necessarily, cash strapped, even if their business isn't doing super well at the moment. And they're starting to worry that they're falling behind. Now, I got Anita's profile up here. I don't know any of that stuff about her, to be clear. And I'm sharing this, obviously your friends are public information. Your Facebook profile is public information. So I think it's okay to maybe show you this. But obviously I don't want to share too much, right? She's a real estate agent, right? That's what I'm going for. Every week, I am not kidding, more real estate agents send me friend requests. That's exactly what I want. I have an audience on Facebook of at least 1,000 real estate agents, which can create kind of a weird environment because I see real estate related posts constantly. But those are the people who I want to be seeing my content, right? And if they're connected to me on social, that means that I am going to get the attention and therefore the business that I'm looking for. So there we go. That's an example. Came in 2 days ago. Confirm request. Now I've got one more real estate agent in my audience, right? The thing about this is I'm not chasing these people, right? This is not something where I have to go out, and I'm going to stop that share. We'll share a couple other tabs here in just a second, but I don't have to go out there and bother anybody. I don't have to go out there and harass anybody. I don't have to, in this example, I do pay for leads. We do a lot of lead gen. I could do another stream on that, obviously. But what's cool about this is it's all organic and it's basically automatic at this point. So I'm going to go through a few steps really quickly here. If you have any questions about what I'm doing as I'm doing it, feel free to throw them in the comments and I'll respond as I see them. Okay. So let me pull up one more screen because I think this will help you understand the concept a little bit here. But the first thing you have to do, okay, before you go on to anything else, and let me make this full screen so you can see it there. You have to define a customer avatar, right? Now, this is the part where most people probably don't have this and have a hard time with it, right? Because they don't like to be pigeonholed. I used to hear that all the time. I want to be able to work with anybody, right? Anybody under the sun. I want them to be able to be my customer. The problem with that attitude is that does not help me as a customer discover you, right? I mean, if you can work with anyone, you're talking to anyone at all times, which means you're ultimately talking to nobody. And the reason for that is that more and more and more businesses every day have realized that if I am clear about my ideal customer, if I'm honest with myself about the kinds of people that I'm a better fit for versus everybody else, and we know that that's always true. There's always going to be certain kinds of people in certain like life circumstances, or that live in certain areas, or maybe they have certain income levels, right, that are a good fit for you. And there's going to be some that are not, right? And that doesn't just mean only people with the most money possible, right? I mean, those people can have their own set of challenges. You know who your ideal customer is, and you know who you want to serve. You just have to be honest with yourself about that. Once you do that and you define this person, then you can do the rest of what I'm going to talk about, right? If you don't do this first, you can't do any of the rest of what I'm going to talk about because it has to match that ideal customer. So here's what you do. You make this profile. I won't go over this in too much detail. We have trainings on this in our school and whatnot, right? But this is a very, very detailed profile of an exact person, right? This person has an exact age. We even name them so that we can think of this person when we're doing all the work that we do, right? And it's really interesting because, when you look at the people who are sending me friend requests, they're not going to be the exact same, right? They're not going to look exactly like your avatar. They might be a few years older or a few years younger, right? But they're going to be really similar. They're going to be very close to the exact same person. And it's kind of crazy, right? I mean, if you were to look through my friends list, you'd find like a bunch of these agents that are all kind of similar and have similar interests and similar passions and care about similar things. And if I were to go dig into that most recent friend request, she's going to be similar too. That's because I speak to the things that matter to our customer, okay? That's the key. You got to know what they care about so that you can spend your time in the same places that they spend their time, and you can talk about the same things that they talk about, right? So one thing that's interesting about the way I approach social media that's a little bit different than other folks, and so let me go ahead and downsize that one as well, is that I tend to spend my time in real estate groups, not marketing groups, not video groups. All right. If you go on my Facebook, I am posting in and commenting on and interacting with posts almost exclusively in groups that are meant for real estate agents, right? That is the key. You have to spend your time where the customer spends their time. And I'll be honest with you, you know what most real estate agents do? They spend their time in groups with other real estate agents. What does that do? That tells you that you should be making more content about real estate, that you should be talking, to all these other agents. And that's actually not very helpful for attracting customers. So what you have to do is you have to first define that avatar. Okay. Once you do, right? So let me actually, I shouldn't have probably stopped that share. Let me put that back up there for just a second. Once you define this avatar, you're going to have those categories, right? You're going to know what their interests are. You're going to know what this person does for a living. You're going to know what their pain points are, right? What are some of the challenges that they're dealing with? Guarantee that there are places on the internet where people are discussing those challenges where you can go spend your time, right? So you get to pull that out. And I think, things like, let me kind of go over a few different categories you might look for here. First is, is job role. I think job role is the most obvious. So if you've been honest with yourself and you defined your customer and you know what they do for a living, then whatever their job is, that is going to be your first category of groups and places online to go spend your time, right? So if your ideal customer is a nurse, you should be in those groups, right? I used to run an Airbnb for many years. Our ideal customer in our Airbnb was a travel nurse. So I was in the travel nurse groups, right? I was seeing them, requesting places to stay. And I was looking at, what are their challenges? I mean, this also is going to help you just understand your customer better in general. If you're spending time in their environment, you're going to see the other things that may not come up when you're normally working with people, right? You're going to see some of the other challenges they're dealing with. An example of that might be, for real estate agents, like if I never spent any time in those groups, I wouldn't be up to date on what's going on with, the settlements that are coming out, right? The DOJ investigation. I wouldn't understand the volumes of real estate. I wouldn't understand this commission threats and things like that, right? Because I'm spending time in those groups and I'm interacting with people there, I can talk about those challenges in a way that's specific to them, right? So if you look carefully at the types of things I share online, even if I'm not speaking about real estate and saying something specific to real estate, a lot of times the language I'm using, the way I'm talking about it is still going to be attractive to a real estate agent, right? It's going to make sense to them. It's going to resonate with them. So that's one, right? Is what is their job? And do they have some groups and some places that they spend their time that match to the job, right? What are their interests? I think it's another one, right? So whatever those passions are, whatever those interests are, this is one that I don't tap into quite as much, quite honestly, because there's just a few really big, impactful real estate related groups that I'm a part of, and I haven't really had to go outside of that, right? Another one that you can look at is their I call it like life role, like, are they a mom? Are they a dad? Are they really into, coaching people? Maybe they're in some coaches groups, are they, maybe they're, clergy or something and they're in those related groups, right? So just really that's all it comes down to is what are the aspects of your customer where we can find places that they're more likely to spend their time. All right. So that's the first step. That's kind of the first thing we want to do here. I can take that back off the screen. So then once you have that clearly defined and you found these groups, right? So for example, for me, just kind of pulling them up here. In fact, I'll share this real quick so you can see what I mean. So there's a lot of screen sharing going on here. Oh, that's not the right one. Let me present this again and show you what I'm talking about for just a second here, right? So if we go to my social media, my Facebook, and we search for real estate and we search for groups, you will see here that I am already in, well, there's a bunch more groups I guess I should be joining, right? But you can see, so real estate investors group, I'm in this one, right? It says I can visit it. Real estate bloggers, I'm in that group. Real estate, build your real estate brand. Climb to the top in real estate brokers, real estate farming principles, real estate all-stars, real estate learn more, right? There's so many of these. And obviously the big ones are going to be things like real estate mastermind, lab coat agents. Those are a couple that I've been in for a long time. But you can do this with any other category, right? Let's say, again, nurses are your focus here. So you can search for nurses, and then we go to those groups, right? And so this is all the kind of stuff you want to do. The other thing is, if you can find any sort of group that is catered to those categories in your area, that's going to often be more related to interests, so like, people who are really into cycling, cyclists in St. Louis, right? I mean, sports fans of the local sport team. I mean, there's so many examples. I'm not going to name them all, obviously, in this quick little live stream that I'm doing today, but that's what you want to focus on, right? So then what do you want to do from there? So let me pull up let me pull up Lab Coat Agents, because that's one that I've done a lot of this kind of stuff in over the years, right? So if we pull up Lab Coat Agents and we come in here, the next thing you want to start doing is you want to start posting, and maybe more importantly, commenting on posts in the groups where they spend their time, right? So you might want to look through here. And the main thing is you want to look for places where you can actually make a unique contribution. All right. Let's sort of scroll through here. I'm just going to see if I can find an example sort of live here. Right. So like if you had a contact number from MoxieWorks, that would be a really great way to help that one particular person. Right. There you go. Right. So I'm looking to hire a marketing VA, literally just a couple hours a week. So this is a person in the target group. They're talking about marketing. This particular post hasn't even had a comment yet, and I have a way to help them. Now, you might say, well, that's marketing. That's related to what I teach people, which is video, but they're not asking for somebody to teach them video. That doesn't matter, right? It's not that you're going to go into these groups and go hunting. That was the whole point. I don't want to be hunting. In fact, I want to sort of avoid talking directly about myself and my business. So what I can do here is I can say, in this case, I'll just go ahead and show you what I would say. So we used onlinejobs.ph to find our 3 full-time VAs. They are amazing, and the site is easy to use. Let me know if you need any tips about how to create your job listing. There you go, right? Now, what's that likely to do in this case? So hopefully this person, and this is a private group, so this is a little bit more, I don't want to be revealing too much stuff here, but this is a pretty harmless post, right? So this is somebody who now they're probably going to respond, say, oh, thanks so much. Yeah, what did you do there, right? Then I can give them tips and tricks. And then guess what? There's a good chance that that person, the next time they see me, is going to pay attention, right? Now, I could go the extra step and like friend this person, right? I don't do that though. I don't think you want, again, I'm not a fan of chasing at all, ever. That doesn't mean you can't, but I don't think that's, to me, it's like, that's a good way to just come across as salesy. What I'm trying to come across as, and what I am trying to do, is build relationships. Okay. So that's all this is ultimately about, is trying to build relationships. Now, one other thing that I want to emphasize as I'm in here, as you're engaging with their content, is the next thing you want to do is find their influencers and mentors and connect with those people. All right. So what I mean by that is, in Lab Coat Agents, this is a great example. Like, I'm Facebook friends with the people who founded Lab Coat Agents, right? I mean, Tristan and Nick are the 2 guys at the top of the screen up there, right? They're both my Facebook friends. So that is after years of relationship building. Okay. Like, this goes back, over 5 years ago, making free video content for a Lab Coat Agents event that was held in St. Louis. And I got there from another relationship, from another introduction I got. I mean, all these things kind of domino together. But that is so crucial, is that you have to connect with the mentors and leaders of not your industry, but of the areas and the industries that your ideal customer cares about, right? Like, I'm Facebook friends with all kinds of really impressive marketers, all kinds of impressive coaches. Like, those are kind of the things that I do, but I'm connected with even more leaders in the real estate space. All right. And so you go out, you want to find those people. How do you find them, right? Well, look in these groups. I mean, it's pretty easy to find them. If you look at, somebody's post here, if it says top contributor, that means that there's somebody who contributes and gets a lot of engagement on their posts in that group. Check them out. Look into them, right? The more you learn about the industry, or I use industry because I'm B2B, right? But maybe it's a local, sports team supporter group. I'll use that as an example, right? Maybe your ideal customer is a huge fan of your local soccer team. We have a soccer team here in St. Louis called City SC. They play in the MLS, and there's a diehard fan base, right? Well, I can find the leaders of those fan groups. There's literally supporter groups with people who are in leadership positions, right? So let me connect with those people. Let me build a relationship with them. One of the coolest parts about social media is that once you start to build relationships with leaders in a target industry, you will find that it's much easier to continue building more relationships with more related leaders, right? So for instance, at this point, I can reach out and send a friend request to total strangers that I've never met before who are high level individuals in these businesses and in these categories, and they'll accept my friend request because of the friends we have in common, right? So that's a huge hack on this, is once you have a few people that you've been able to kind of convince to accept your friend request, usually by offering them favors and helping them out. And guess what? Engaging a lot in somebody's Facebook group in a way that's not spammy, but is very helpful is a great way to do that, right? They're going to see that. They're going to see that you're super involved. And all of a sudden, you send them a friend request, they're going to just accept it because they can see you're active in their group. Now, their friends, all these other top level influencers in those spaces, are also going to be more likely to accept your friend request, all right? So that's a big one. You want to make sure you're connecting with all those people at the top level. And then the last thing that you want to do here is you really need to make sure you're posting content that appeals to that ideal customer, right? I think that's the most obvious part of this. Like, I don't even want to, talk too much on that. Again, it's just going to come from that customer avatar. What are the things that they care about? What are the challenges that they're dealing with? And can I make content that's for them, right? So how does this lead to Facebook putting you in front of people, right? Because that's really what you want, is the ultimate end goal here. Well, some of it is that you're putting yourself in front of these people, right? And that is actually the key. What Facebook is going to look at okay, who are the types of people that tend to engage with Nick? Who are the types of people who tend to like Nick's posts, that tend to follow Nick, right? And then I'm going to recommend his account to people like him. Well, the cool thing about Facebook is it's two sides, right? You can send and receive friend requests. It's not just followers. Following is kind of a one-sided experience. So on Facebook, I can be proactive about requesting the contacts, sending the friend requests, building the relationships that I want. And that sends those signals, right? So it's training Facebook that these are the kinds of people that I want to be friends with, right? So when it recommends friends to me, they tend to be people in the real estate industry. It goes both ways, right? So it's basically teaching, hey, if I want those friends, they're going to want me too. And then when you go in and you're posting in these groups and you're engaging, some of those people will see that content. They'll like what you're doing. They'll click on your profile. They'll start to scroll your content. They'll see that it continues to resonate with them, that it continues to make sense to them specifically, and they'll send you friend requests, right? I would imagine about half of the friend requests I get from real estate agents comes from that. And I think the other half comes from it being a recommendation. And again, that's the same thing, right? It's because these people are in the same groups. So, hey, you probably want to be friends with this person, right? They're commenting on the same posts. So, hey, you probably want to be friends with this person, right? That's it. So that's it, right? I mean, I don't have a bunch of slides to share or anything today. That's basically all I wanted to go over. But, hopefully that's really, I hope it's helpful, right? I can continue to make content on this idea and sort of share it over the coming weeks if you found this useful. I don't have any courses to pitch or anything like that. I'm just trying to do more live streaming where I'm sharing, what's working for me and kind of how I'm going about doing it. But that's all I got, right? So if you have any questions, if you want to talk more about this approach, if there's something, if this sparked an idea for you want to share, please do, right? I'd love to see that stuff. But that's it, right? So that's all I got for you here today. So that's all. Just to summarize it back up, kind of give you final closing thoughts here. If you want social media to send you ideal customer relationships, right? You just got to go out, find those people where they're spending time, and get involved in the conversations that they're having, okay? But the key to any of that is that you have to be very clear about who that person is in the first place. If you're not, you cannot do this. It's that simple, right? If I didn't know that our ideal customer is a real estate agent specifically, which takes it from all small business owners, we're talking, tens of millions of people in the United States, and it narrows it down to at first about, 1.5 million people. And then when I continue to narrow it down further, I'm looking for agents that are serious about their business, that work full time, that want to be up to date on the latest and greatest technology and marketing techniques and things like that. That narrows it down to just a few 100,000 total people, right? That's my ideal customer. I went out, I found out they spend where they spent their time, what kind of stuff they engaged with, and it's working, right? And it continues to work. And every week, I'm not kidding. I will say this one last thing. If you stop engaging, if you stop showing up, this does tend to stop working, right? I mean, Facebook's going to reward you for being active on the platform. If you stop doing those activities, it will probably stop recommending you to people, right? So just one last kind of warning there is you do have to stay active and keep posting. All right. Well, thanks for watching this. I hope you got something out of it. And yeah, I'll try to make sure I distribute this video around so everybody gets a chance to see it if you weren't able to hop on live. But otherwise, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.